Today we're going to talk all about setting powder. I have a lot of options here for you no matter what your skin type is. I have drugstore, I have high-end, I have pressed, I have loose. So let's go ahead and get into it. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I am hoping that by the end of this video, you are going to walk away with some kind of an option that will work out for you. I understand that our under eye area can sometimes have different needs from the face, which is the case for me. My under eye area is very dry. My face is combination oily. I will be telling you which ones are cruelty-free as well as talc-free. I have 12 main options, but I wanted to throw in a few more talc-free options. Those are a little bit harder to find, but I do have a few extras in here for you. This ties in with the video I just did, which was all about differentiating between setting powder and finishing powder. So if you haven't seen that, I'm going to have a link to that at the end of this video. If you have not used finishing powder before, you're probably missing out on something pretty fantastic. So definitely catch that video and stay tuned for my upcoming video, which is going to be on top finishing powders. So if you're not subscribed to this channel and you don't want to miss that, definitely hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. Become part of the family and be here on a regular basis. I don't believe I'm going to go in any kind of an order. I'm just kind of picking and choosing, and I will tell you how and why I favor these as I go. So the first one I'm going to start with is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. I have the shade Fair 1. There are 3 shades in this powder. It's $45 for 0.28 ounces of product, which breaks out to $160.71 for 1 ounce of product. Charlotte Tilbury has been listed as cruelty-free before. Charlotte Tilbury does not animal test, but they have recently been taken off of a lot of the cruelty-free sites because they have found some loopholes to be able to sell in China. So that is just something to note if you are looking for a cruelty-free option. So if you did watch my setting powder versus finishing powder video, you will note that I do not like any kind of a setting powder to alter the color of my concealer or foundation that I already applied. So every one of these will be translucent on the skin. This has a shade Fair 1. And the reason why I like it is because for my light medium skin tone, it appears as translucent. It does not change the color of my makeup whatsoever. This is one of the best under eye setting powders out there, in my opinion. It is wonderful to travel with. It is ultra fine, very, very smooth. It blurs imperfections and just gives a smoother appearance to the skin. It's supposed to have light diffusing particles that blur away fine lines and imperfections, and I do feel like it does that, which is a really good thing to have underneath the eyes. It does have some nourishing ingredients in here, which is wonderful, especially for dry skin. This is one of those powders that's a great universal powder for any skin type, I feel like. It's not one that is going to mattify me the way some others do in this video, but it is a great option that really does just kind of perfect the skin and give kind of a soft velvety matte finish while still being very thin and natural looking. I love this, one of my favorite for under the eyes and on the face. I would say if you're very oily, this may not be the one for you, but for anyone else, I think it's absolutely stunning. I do have a less expensive dupe coming up in this video. This is the Too Faced Primed and Poreless powder. It's $30 for 0.35 ounces, which breaks out to $85.71 per ounce. There is one universal shade. It's just kind of a nice light white shade. Mine is a little bit old. It's been used. I've traveled with it. It's got a crack in it, and that is purely my fault. That is not the fault of the powder. Too Faced is cruelty-free. This is fragrance-free. It is oil-free. The Charlotte Tilbury was also fragrance-free. I don't notice a scent with it. Unless I specify that there's a fragrance, just note that it is fragrance-free. This is very silky. It's very smooth. It's also supposed to minimize pores, minimize imperfections, smooth and blur the skin. And I feel like this is kind of more along the lines of the Charlotte Tilbury, except opposite. Whereas the Charlotte Tilbury works best for, I would say, dry to combination skin, I feel like this one works really well for oily to normal skin, not super dry, because it does have a little bit more of a mattifying effect. So if you're looking for a setting powder to travel with or to touch up with during the day, you kind of need something to do both. The Charlotte Tilbury as well as the Too Faced are great options depending on which side of dry or oily you lean. Like I said at the beginning of the video, my eyes are pretty dry, and I feel like because this works a little bit better for mattifying, it doesn't work that great under my eyes. So keep that in mind if you have dry under eyes. Let's just stick with Too Faced and talk about a great loose option from them. I do prefer loose to set. I just feel like, I don't know, for me and the shine on my face, it just kills it a little bit longer than a pressed option. This is the Too Faced Ethereal Loose Setting Powder. This is $33 for 0.56 ounces, which makes it $58.93 per ounce. And there are 3 shades in this. Now, when I got mine, this was the only shade, so I would assume that I would be the lightest shade that it comes in, just because that's usually the way I roll with setting powder. I do love that this has a flip top lid, so that if you do want to travel with your loose setting powder, it does keep it nice and contained, and it doesn't get all messy if you travel. This is also cruelty free because it's Too Faced, and there is no fragrance in this powder either. This is very silky, very lightweight, and it just gives a little bit of a luminosity without sparkle. It does have hyaluronic acid in it, so if you have dry skin, that can be a really good thing. I know a lot of people with, I was gonna say dry skin, but all skin types really love this powder. And the reason why I enjoy this powder is because it does give me an option to have a setting powder that looks great under my dry eyes. It looks great on my oily combination skin, but it does allow me to have a little bit of luminosity and radiance. Some luminous radiant powders, they don't set me enough to where that shine won't break through and to where I won't look greasy during the day. And this is a really good option for me. So this is a great, just healthy, luminous looking powder that runs across all skin types. This is a 2-in-1. I have both versions of the number 7 Perfect Light Powder. Number 7 is a cruelty-free brand. Both are $12.99. There are 3 shades in the pressed version and 1 shade in the loose, which is translucent. And one of the 3 shades in the pressed is translucent. So the pressed is 0.35 ounces, and that breaks out to $37.11 for 1 ounce of product. And the loose is 0.7 ounces, which breaks out to $18.56. This is one of my favorite drugstore powders. I think it is so beautiful on the skin, and I think any skin type can use it. It feels very high end. The packaging is nice, and you can see it's got kind of a whitish, beigey, translucent shade to it. So really, it's just which option do you prefer, or do you want a loose to set at home and a press to bring to touch up with during the day or to travel with? It's very sheer, it is light diffusing, and it has good ingredients in it like hyaluronic acid, vitamin B5, and vitamin E, and all of those do really nice things for the skin in terms of hydration and conditioning. For the price point, I don't think you could get much better than the number 7 powders. There's a reason why these just keep sticking around for me. I just think they're great. Now, there is another number 7 powder that I know you guys keep telling me to try. I haven't found it yet. I probably should just order it. It is the Lift and Illuminate, I think is what it's called. And I have heard that that is a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury. But the dupe that I found for Charlotte Tilbury that I showed in my first dupes video, I will link that down below, and a lot of you have agreed with me, is this Flower Beauty Light Illusion Perfecting Powder. This is $13 and there are 8 shades. It is 0.3 ounces, which breaks out to $43.33. I am in the shade Porcelain, which very similarly to the Charlotte Tilbury, it appears translucent on my skin. The description of this says it has next generation blurring pigments that impart a luminous ambient glow with medium buildable coverage for ultimate perfecting. So that may be the case. I feel like this is just a beautiful powder. It does everything that the Charlotte Tilbury powder does, including looking beautiful under the eyes and setting my makeup beautifully while blurring everything and minimizing the pores and imperfections. Now, from what I understand, Flower Beauty has been discontinued in physical Walmarts, but they are available online. So I will link everything down below for you, including this. Let's go ahead and talk about the infamous ByTerry Hyaluronic Hydra Powder. This is in the translucent shade. There are some tinted shades that I will be talking about more in my finishing powder video. Although those can be used for setting, I, again, personally do not like to use tinted powders to set my makeup because it does alter the shades of my concealers and my foundation that I have on underneath. This is $60 for 10 grams of product. This uses hyaluronic acid to hydrate and plump up lines, minimize pores, imperfections, and to help control shine without drying your skin. And it's supposed to help your skin look smooth and flawless and all that stuff. This looks very, very white, but it does apply translucent. This is a powder that you only need the tiniest amount for it to make a difference. And when you are someone who needs pore blurring, this will blur your pores. And I have a couple of other powders in here that do the same thing to this extent. This just gives an overall perfected look to the skin, but you do need to use, again, a tiny amount. I can't emphasize that enough. I didn't like this at first because when I first tried to use it, I used too much. I used the normal amount of powder underneath my eyes and I just thought it looked dry. I just didn't like the way it looked. And once I got the hang of how little I needed, I then liked the way my under eye area looked. Love the way my makeup looks. Now, because I have oily combination skin, this is not my typical setting powder for my T-zone. It just doesn't control the shine to the same extent that some of my other favorites do, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But for people with dry skin up to, I would say, combination skin, normal skin, this powder is just heavenly. It's just such a great light veil, so thin that just makes the skin look beautiful. Let's talk about a talc-free version. This is the first one in the video. I'm going to tack the other ones on at the end because I do know a lot of people like them a lot. I did want to include them because I think they could be great options for other people, and I know there's so many people searching for talc-free options. So this is the W3ll People Bio Brightener Invisible Powder. It is $21.99 and there is one universal shade. It is also cruelty-free. This is free from parabens, gluten, GMO, sulfates, fragrance, dimethicone, lead, mineral oil, talc, basically all the bad things you would want anything to be free from. This is a very, very fine powder that is supposed to, once again, blur imperfections and kind of give a radiant soft effect. It has luxurious natural freshwater pearl that instantly illuminates the complexion for a glow and can optically diffuse fine lines. I just thought that was something that was different. The pearl that is combined with the organic aloe that's also in here, those are supposed to help create just more radiant skin while this does softly mattify the skin. For a talc-free option, this is one of my top options. I just think this is a beautiful powder. It works very well underneath the eyes and on the face to softly mattify for a long period of time, yet dry-skinned people do very, very well with this powder. Let's get into one of my very favorite powders. This is the Lancome Long Time No Shine. This is $39 for 0.52 ounces of product, and it breaks out to $75 for 1 ounce, and there are 2 shades. I am in translucent. It's just called translucent. So I used to rotate different mattifying setting powders, but I would always have to use something different underneath my eyes. And this was one of the first that allowed me to use it both on my face and under my eyes and just get a beautiful look in both places that stayed shine free for a long time. And I was kind of just mystified by that. The fact that something could make me not look 40 something underneath my eyes, but still just do what it needed to do on my face. It's very thin. It's very lightweight. It does everything it's supposed to do. A long time no shine. I mean, it's basically the name of the powder. There's no scent. It just makes everything look beautiful and poreless and airbrushed. This is definitely one of my top setting powders for my particular skin type, which again is combination, kind of normal around the perimeter, oily in the T-zone with dry under eyes. And it really, really just does this magical pore blurring thing. It's just a great powder. Should we go ahead and talk about the queen of all translucent powders? Because you know it has to be in this video. This is the Laura Mercier translucent loose powder. It is $39 for 1 ounce of product. You actually get a whole ounce in here. There are 2 shades. This is the shade just translucent. I found it very interesting that on Sephora there are over 8,000 reviews and it has over 4.5 stars. Laura Mercier is the queen of the flawless face. It's what she's been doing for years and years and years, and there's a reason for that. And again, not every powder is going to work for everybody. I know there's people that have tried this and it hasn't worked for them, just like this works well for so many people. This powder is very weightless, but it does work really well to lock in makeup and reduce shine for a long period of time during the day. This was actually one of my first favorite translucent powders. It does softly blur lines and imperfections. Now, Laura Mercier does not test on animals, but from what I last heard, she or her brand is owned by Shiseido. You know, if you're looking for a translucent powder that is just very good at what it does, this is one that works. Now, as much as I like this powder for the face, I don't feel like it multitasks well for my particular under eye area. I just feel like it kind of darkens that area a bit, which is why I use the Secret brightening powder, which is made for the under eye area underneath my eyes for so long. But I just feel like I've found others that really work better for me for that area. This is a great face setting powder for me, and it may work for others underneath the eyes as well. This is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless powder. It is $7.99 for 0.29 ounces, which breaks out to $27.55 for 1 ounce of product. There are 24 shades. I'm in the shade 100 translucent. There is a mirror, but it's under here, which drives me crazy about the packaging. This is actually known to be great for normal to oily skin. It's got mineral technology in it that is supposed to absorb oil and mattify the skin, and it's supposed to help minimize pores with this blurring technology as well. This is a great powder to travel with if you want your makeup to be set kind of like you would set it with a loose powder and to last a decent amount of time after you set it. I don't really love it underneath my eyes though, because it does have that mattifying effect, which does kind of make my under eye area look a little bit dry. I think even maybe some normal skin people could use it if they do get a little bit shiny in the T-zone. It's a really great setting powder at a really good price. All right, let's talk about another one of my top favorite powders that I have talked about quite a bit. This is the Stila In the Buff powder spray, which is just kind of a weird powder because of the dispensing mechanism. However, it does make it great for travel. I think some people are kind of turned off from this because of the powder spray technology. You're not supposed to spray this on your face. I've seen some people do that in videos. You're supposed to spray this onto a surface or onto the brush and then put this onto your face. This is $30 for 0.39 ounces, which breaks out to $76.92 per ounce. There are 2 shades of this and a glow version, which I haven't tried, and Stila is cruelty free. This is very fine, like a micro fine silky powder. It does absorb oil and make you look shine free, but without making the skin look dry. It never looks cakey. It does do really good things for the pores, which is another thing that I love. And I really do like to travel with it. So the only reason why I wouldn't like it, why it wouldn't get 100% across the board for me, is because it's not my favorite for under the eyes. But for the face, if I want something that just looks beautiful on the skin and keeps my skin shine free for a really long period of time while never looking powdery or cakey, this is it. This is a really great powder. Okay, so this is my other top favorite in addition to the Lancome Long Time No Shine and the Stila In the Buff. This is the Nikkia Joy, what's the official name of this? Velvet Finishing Powder. This is $38 for 20 grams of product. and there's just the one shade. And it does have kind of this cream tint to it, but again, it does not alter the shade of your makeup that you've already applied. So I do have to read you a little bit about this because I really think this is one of the most magical powders I've ever used. And you may have even heard me say that it was a finishing powder, but it is a multi-use soft focus powder that controls shine for up to 16 hours. It gives skin a smooth matte finish that deeply conditions with 6 power ingredients to improve skin condition and hydration. You can use it under makeup. You can use it on top of makeup. You can use it as a finishing powder as well. It minimizes pores amazingly well. I mean, if you are having just a bad pore day and you put this on, it will take care of it. It is unbelievable. It blurs fine lines. It locks makeup into place. It does control shine and oil breakthrough for a really long time. It never makes my skin feel dry or look dry. I can set underneath my eyes with this and it looks beautiful, and I can set my face and it looks gorgeous. It does have a very, very slight vanilla scent to it because it is scented with natural vanillin. It's not an artificial fragrance. I find the scent to be very heavenly every time I apply it. I just love it. But the power ingredients that are in here are vitamin A, which helps fight premature aging and skin damage, and vitamin E, which is also an antioxidant, which helps heal the skin and hydrate the skin. It's got sweet almond oil, which hydrates and conditions while keeping the skin soft. It's got aloe vera, which deeply hydrates and conditions the skin, along with coconut aminos, and it's got green tea extract, which helps calm skin irritation and redness. It is also vegan and cruelty-free. I've actually been really amazed by this powder. This has to be shipped from Australia. It does take about 2 weeks to get in. For me, it's worth it. I do have a backup, but if you are wanting something, you know, local from here, you have the Lancome Long Time No Shine. That is also another favorite for under the eyes and on the face. Although I do kind of lean more towards the Nikkia Joy for my particular needs. I wanted to give you 3 more talc-free options because I feel like with loose and pressed powders, it's just hard to find talc-free options that have been, you know, tested and tried and true. So you have the W3ll People from earlier, and I also wanted to mention the It Bye Bye Pores pressed powder. I prefer the pressed powder version of this to the loose. I just think that it works much better under the eyes as well as on the face. It is $30 for 0.31 ounces, which breaks out to $96.77 per ounce. It Cosmetics is cruelty-free, and they do develop their products with plastic surgeons. This particular powder has silk, collagen, antioxidants, and peptides, which are all gonna help the skin. Those are all great things for the skin. And I do find that this does minimize the pores, minimize shine, and it works well underneath the eyes. The drawback for me with this is that it can give flashback in photography, but it is a great powder. I know a lot of people really like it, so I wanted to mention it in this video. Cruelty-free, talc-free. And the last 2 are both from Cover FX. I actually think they're great options. I just feel like they were kind of edged out by these other powders. I have the matte setting powder here, and I also wanted to mention the perfect setting powder. I feel like both are great options if you lean oilier. I would go for the matte. I think it's a really beautiful powder without making you look dry or powdery. And if you have, I would say, combination or normal skin to dry skin, I would go for the Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder. Both are $35 for 0.35 ounces, and that breaks out to $100 for an ounce of product. And there are 2 shades in the Perfect Setting Powder, and there are 3 shades in the matte. I had a sample size of the Perfect Setting Powder, and I am just out of that. That's why I only have the matte here. It also says this is great for sensitive skin because it is oil-free and fragrance-free and non-comedogenic. And they are free of the inflammatory 5, gluten, mineral oil, fragrance, parabens, and talc. So if you have sensitive skin, these are great options. This is supposed to minimize shine and extend makeup wear for all day. And I do feel like it does a great job of that. I can't put every powder I've ever tried into, you know, my top list, you know, but it is a great powder. And I also don't like this underneath my eyes. So that's the other kind of drawback for it. It's not quite as finely milled as, say, the Stila. The Perfect Setting Powder does basically the same thing for, you know, in my opinion, different skin types. The Perfect Setting Powder is going to be a little bit better for those of you who want more of a radiance, kind of a soft airbrush finish. It works better under the eyes for me anyway, with my dry under eyes. It's got some light diffusing particles in it, which actually makes it perfect for the under eye area. It never looks chalky, it never looks dry, but I find that it doesn't quite keep me shine free as much as I would like, although it's a really pretty powder, I think, for more dry to normal combination skin, if that's the kind of effect that you like from your powder, which I think a lot of you guys do like, that kind of luminous effect. I've tried a lot of powders. Some of the powders from my previous setting powder video are not in this video because these have just kind of overtaken them, but it doesn't mean those aren't great powders. I will link that video down below for you, as well as my setting powder versus finishing powder video. I'll have that linked here for you. And I want to know your favorite setting powders. Did I leave something out that you feel like I need to try, or that you're wondering why it's not in this video? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you are not subscribed to my channel, be sure and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss my upcoming finishing powder video and other good things on the horizon. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found this helpful, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.